Hello. Okay, well, welcome everybody. If you are here on Facebook, give me a hello. Let us know. We are here. We can answer any questions. That's all right. Okay, isn't it? We can answer some questions if you need to. But I reached out specifically to Nikki a little while ago because Nikki's been in my world for 5, 6 years.
Yep.
A while. I think we met
Oh,
through
great.
Kyle Gray's Angel Team.
Yeah,
Um,
time ago.
and we were having a conversation a little while back about, like why is she still here? Why is
You
she
know,
still sticking around in my world for a while? And Nikki's had this relationship with the Akashic records before, right? She's done some training already in the records, and we've had lots of conversations around it. And when Akashic Reiki was introduced earlier this year, I don't know, Nikki was somebody that I really wanted to have on board. So I reached out to her last week to see if she'll come on and speak to all of you. And the fact that she said yes, and she's here actually shows quite how much growth and trust that she's developed in herself, especially over these last few months. So, Nikita, say hello to my Facebook
hi.
audience.
Hi. I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And it's trusting you. Yeah. Um Definitely in the years over the years that I've been in your area, you could say, and watching you grow and watching you do what you do. I think I actually had my first Akashic Records reading with you 5 years
Oh,
ago. Yeah, that was the first time I came across Akashic Records. So in regards to Akashic Reiki, so as we were talking earlier, the question I've been asking is why did I choose to do it? And that's a question that I actually have been struggling with, but it's been like that with a couple of other modalities. It's when you know that it's absolutely right for you, is when I think you have the most resistance. And
mm,
there was that internal, no, I can't do any more. No, I just done a lot of training last year. So
yeah,
I did not want to do anything else. Um, but knowing that you'd actually channeled this modality, for me, and especially since you've been doing your channeling, yeah, that's been a real energetic connection for me, I have to say. It's really been quite important. So it was like not wanting to miss out on what you've
mm,
actually channeled through. So
yeah,
it was that little internal war going on. And yep, I signed up.
yeah.
I signed up for level one. And then I just went all in to say, if I'm going to do anything, I want to know how to practice it as well.
Yeah.
Um, and it really, what it is the fact that with the level one, what you've done and what you've pulled together um, is so important, I think, for so many. Yeah, because it's a way of life.
Yeah.
It, it's just a way of consciously being. But how you've done it, I have to say, um, for me anyway, it's it's bringing together many things, but simplifying them.
Yeah.
So it's a way of following them. And I think that helps you understand more about yourself.
Yeah.
And so
For
where
sure.
people are on different parts of their journey, but it just simplifies just doing that, how that slowly starts changing you then, wherever you are, I think, on your path, because it does, because it allows you, to stop judging yourself. Even if you fall off or whatever, you can just say, that's fine, it's
Right.
okay, and then you come back and you come back to that part where you've got your five principles just for today. And that's what's important just for today. And
Yeah.
then you start with that. And I find that really has helped me
Mm.
through the rocky road of life.
And it is a rocky road of life. And this is the thing, like these healing modalities that are, like you. I'm an eternal student. Yes. And
Well, I was going to say I'm like you because it's that thirst of learning.
yeah.
Absolutely. I did think about that because you want to learn, you want to know. But it's also for me what's right for me.
Yeah.
So what I did think about is when you're ready, the teacher comes, right? And so depending on what you need to know, what works for you, that's when it presents itself. And that's why maybe I lost the battle. So I did sign up. So
Yeah, that's I forced her. I literally came down. I was like, right, we're going to fight for this, and I didn't really.
no.
No, it is this thing, and I think quite often we can come at these investments with a, well, I need more, I need more, I need more, and we kind of want this fixer. It's never enough. I'm never good enough, and and I see that a lot in this industry, and it's something that's easy to fall into. But I think what when it comes to something like this, what was important for me was I'm not just giving you techniques. It's not just a case of, well, you need this in order to this. For me, I took all of the techniques that I knew. And, my years in psychotherapy and in counseling and with my shamanic training and NLP and coaching and all the things and hypnotherapy, and I pulled it all apart, and I was like, what's important and what's true, and if I bring everything through the lens of the Akashic records, which has been my passion and my safe haven for so long now, that it started to give me a different understanding of us as practitioners, how we begin, like what those first 6 weeks, which are all about self, came from the techniques, not because we all need fixing, but from this understanding of where are we living as practitioners and as healers and as coaches and intuitives and guides from this Akashic viewpoint, which then means that we can really step into our destiny and into our space. And I think that's what you recognized in there. But
Absolutely.
what was it? So, like you said, that it was like the level one, those first 6 weeks that helped you change into something. What changed?
I think it's being kinder to myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
The literally it was how, this when you've got the four pillars, like we are never broken.
Hmm.
And also the aspect of something that I've always believed in. So I think there's so much in there that but the way that it's been pulled together, it's been reaffirmed and it's been able to actually what can you say, embody that to actually walk that path because it was really interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody and they actually said to me, why are you being so compassionate about that person? And it made me laugh because I thought, oh, this is actually working because, it shows if you're doing this work, and this was level one, so how you're practicing it, it's being recognized without them understanding what you're actually doing. And it wasn't done intentionally. I think it flows towards just being a better person as well. If we take this on board for all of us, it actually helps you. And I think also, it also puts into play again, allowing yourself to have that deeper connection with yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to walk towards, actually.
Why? Like, why is having a deeper connection to yourself important?
Um, because it allows you it allows you because there's another part in where everything is an invitation to growth.
Mhm.
Now that really hit home because everything's an invitation, so it's about a choice, but it's knowing that when something's not working, oh, as we say, it's a lesson. You understand it's not a lesson as in a hard lesson, but what you can take from it is an invitation to allow yourself to give yourself that love, allow yourself to grow from that, to learn from that. And I think that just changes it because lesson is always quite harsh.
Yes, it
Me,
is.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like I've been telling myself that for a number of years. Okay, that's a lesson I have to learn, like to move further on my journey. But this, it's an invitation to growth. It really did change it for me. So
Mm,
it's I think everything that's put in that level one, it's done with obviously love because that's the core,
mhm,
yeah, and that gentleness, and that where that's the way when you take those steps gently. And I think the important part is the vocalization, the embodiment, yeah, they're all so important.
yeah.
And you see it in that level two. We see that in level two, how incredible that is. And so the 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 other thing, obviously, that you've pulled together this modality. But for me, and I've always said it about your energy in the meditations, in the channeling, but the attunements for me, yeah, they you can really feel the coding, the energy behind that.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
think, yeah, that really does. I did send you a text about that as
you did.
well.
Yeah.
For me, that was something else as well, because that just changes your whole frequency.
Well, it does. And what's interesting, and thank you, is that so Akashic Reiki was birthed from that. Well, there was a step before that, and I only realized this recently. So it came through when I was in Bulgaria, yes, and I was sitting on the mountain, and this attunement came through. And when it came through me, it was like the middle of the night, and I was like, oh, I was like, whoa, there's something going on here. Now, the step before that, this is why I bang on about asking good questions all of the time. The step before that is I was on a business retreat and I was asking some great questions of myself that week. What's my place in this? What's going on with the industry? Like, what am I seeing? What am I not liking? What am I loving? Like all of these things of, and I remember waking up one morning being before this, being like, right, I'm on a mission now. Now I'm there, like now these things need to change. I was seeing all these people in like the poor healer complex with this whole like I need to know everything, I don't know enough, and there's kind of imposter syndrome that was going on, and people not charging for their work, and not believing themselves and kind of dimming their light and all of these things. I was like, right, no more. And it was like the next day this attunement came through, and I'm so glad you mentioned the coding and the attunement, because this is the basics. Like the energy holds it all, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what changes it. And that's when you do level two and you do the healings, you can feel that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yeah, I find it so powerful, actually. I do. And so on that healing side, what I just from the experiences that I've had with doing the healings, what I've liked, and maybe this is more about me and why I've been pushed into this as such,
I
generally
didn't
with
push her. I didn't make her do that, promise.
no, I'm talking about me, myself, my internal war. Yeah. So she pushed me literally. Yeah. Um, not you. Yeah. It was um it's the vocalization
Mm-hmm.
as you're feeling into the body
Mm-hmm.
and as you're asking the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And that I think that really is good because you're embodying and you're feeling what's going on in the body
Mm-hmm.
as a person who's having the healing.
Yeah.
Um, just to see, because as we know, so much still gets held in the body.
Yeah.
So that way it's actually really feeling it. And with that energy coding, it allows it to release it. So I
Yes.
did find that quite fascinating, I have to say.
I'm glad you found it fascinating. But body work, for me and my psychotherapy work, it was the somatic work that seemed to really take everything into the next level. And after that attunement came through, then my job, so I didn't create the attunement came through and I interpreted it like that. That's the only way. I wrote it down. I wrote what I saw and what I felt, and the energy came through me. But my creation really was then, okay, well, now what do we do with this? And what
Mm.
was important for me is the attunement of the frequency contained that which you speak of. the energy from the Akashic records, this non-judgment, this everything's an invitation, this compassion, this love, this thing that's going to bring me on my path. Wonderful. And when we use that, so when we look at something like Reiki or angelic Reiki, or these different energy healing, IET, like hands-on healing modalities, they're wonderful, and we can have so much growth and depth. This is where I started, and it's then relying on the human to then do the work to kind of catch up with the energy.
Yeah.
And so my job was, well, now I take everything that I've known, so all of my psychotherapy work particularly, and the shamanic and the NLP, and all of these other things that I've been working with for so long, and then ask the question, well, what happens here in the Akashic records? And then as practice, so we did it in level 1 a little on ourselves, but then on level 2, we're now bringing through some of these concepts and these psychotherapeutic interventions without having to be a psychotherapist, without having to be a hypnotherapist, without having to be a psychic and an Akashic Records reader to be able to read and, interpret all of that, but still get that mind, body, soul, emotion connection all together. Like, that was where my creation came in. So my question is, how has that changed how you hold your clients?
I think because I mean, I've done it, like I said to you, with you could say a 15-year-old, and children can be quite closed, yeah. And so when you do a healing, you don't know actually, you trust what's happened and you leave them be. But with this, I was allowed to go deeper, and the client actually opened up then to share inner thought and how she was feeling. Because yes, you might know that this and this is going on, but as you go deeper, just for her to also verbalize, I think was so powerful for her, actually, and then to be able to release it.
Yeah.
And I think that was what was really important for me, to find a modality. So this is and different modalities work for different people. So I like that this is a different way of doing it, but the energy behind it is so powerful, because the last one I did, we did go past life as well, which you don't know until it starts. Yeah. But it allows them, if they need to verbalize and let go. So
Okay.
which
And
I
that,
normally you don't get to do, because you're just releasing in other modalities. So that for me is the biggest difference, because I'm also verbally quite interactive with it,
okay.
which is quite interesting for me.
And the trust.
Absolutely. Yes, fully the trust, because you wouldn't normally be speaking as much, but it's allowing them to feel it and then guiding them. So I think that's yeah, definitely very powerful, I'll say.
Amazing. And I'll share this as well. So I had a message from you last week saying I did this. So, like, one of the concept of Akashic Reiki, or the vehicle, if you like, of Akashic Reiki, comes through the flame. And
Yes.
the flame was the thing actually that came before the attunement. So the flame is this vehicle, and I had a message saying, I did this particular thing with the flame with my client, which wasn't something that I had taught explicitly, but this is exactly where I see Akashic Reiki moving to, because it is this living flame. It has its own intelligence. We are literally tapping into the intelligence of the Akashic records, and not just the records, our records and our clients' records. And it's going to give you the tools and the practices and the variations, if you like, of how we're working with it. And you let the flame guide you, and you said, I did this, was it okay? And actually it was more than okay, because it was showing me that this is what this girl needed, and it works. So do you want to talk a bit on that?
Yeah, so it was, I mean, the flame for me is so important, which I do use on myself when I need to, you know, like you'd said about the yoga, if your hips, anything's tight, just giving it that flame, giving it that love. And I've started practicing that quite a bit. And it allows you to feel into that and not to judge it.
Yeah.
And so where I did this healing, we were taking the flame, moving it around the body, but where I felt that protection was needed, and so I asked her to sit in that flame. And so she did, and it was beautiful, because what happened after the healing was because it was a pink flame that she sat in to protect her. And then which I hadn't thought of, she translated it into asking for a pink blanket that she needed to protect her at home.
I love
So
it.
yeah, it was just like, wow, how she turned that around. But it gave her that, yeah, I can be protected and I can protect
Mhm.
myself. So I think that was actually really, really beautiful, to tell the truth. Yeah.
And I just got goosebumps, because like, what's so amazing about that, had we just been doing hands-on healing, you might have seen the pink flame, she might have seen pink, who knows, but
Yeah.
it might have just been, oh, I saw pink and that's it. But because there was this involvement in there, again, without you having to interpret it, but just this involvement, this holding, like, I know it's there and I'm trusting this guidance, she started to walk the Akashic way, which is, I'm listening, right? I'm holding, I'm trusting this. In her case, what she saw was this flame. And now I'm taking action in the physical world by having this pink blanket, that every time I put this pink blanket around me, it is a reminder of the flame and the energy. And this is the point, nothing's separate. It's not energy work, psychological work,
Yeah.
emotional work, regulation, all this stuff. It's like, I have a soul and it is guiding me.
And you're living it, because that's the thing. You're living it. You're living this work as well, as you've said, you've got to be living the Akashic Reiki way. And that's how when I saw what she'd done, I was like, wow, that's just so beautiful.
Mhm.
But that just shows, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah. And I think the flame protocol is a very important part
yeah,
of this modality.
yeah. So the flame protocol is the heart, if you like, of what we learn in level one and how we work with it in ourselves. And it's the thing that's something that's really important for me. And as I saw things through the Akashic lens of how we hold information, how we hold memory, how we hold views of ourselves, that it comes through in, sometimes we feel shame, sometimes we feel love, sometimes we feel anger. And it's actually not so much about what happened, but how we hold it in. So flame speaks to that. Flame is the protocol that really allows us to, if you like, for want of a better word, dissolve the heaviness or the hardness or the locked energy that sits around whatever it is that we're moving through.
Or the dense energy, you might be, yeah,
Yeah,
like you say, heavy or dense energy. And just by putting the flame there, or just by asking the client to put the flame there, what can come from that is quite a lot
right.
from what I've seen. Yeah, absolutely. It's
I've
been,
I've got another question for you. So, viewers, you may or may not know this, but Nikki is a breathwork facilitator. So you've done like some really extensive breathwork training, as
yes.
well as many other things. I'm wondering how, having done the Akashic Reiki, and especially those first 6 weeks, and then moved into the practitioner, if any, how it's changed, influenced, affected that aspect of your work or the other aspects of what you do.
Um, at the moment, I've tried to keep it separate, but I think for me, for doing level, I think I needed it after doing the breathwork course personally, because
Right.
it was very deep. It was me having to look at myself so much deeper. And doing the level 1 here allowed me to come back and say, okay, I'm not broken. It's okay, to give that love back to me. It allowed me to slowly come back and feel that love. So I think that's why it was really important, because it was literally after having done that course. But obviously, it felt what I felt was that last year was definitely a year of embodiment, because doing the breath work was absolutely embodying,
Mm-hmm.
but not verbalizing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this was the contrast where this is also embodying, but verbalizing. So the very opposite. I know how I could pull the two together, but at the moment I'm not going to, just to keep it separate. But I think for all my modalities, and actually I was out last night, so I have to say for the protection, so the infinity, and I can't ever use that word, the virirach,
The Viracocha.
so for the things that I've learned, yeah. So I mean, last night I was using the infinity to put myself in my field, to protect myself. It
Mm-hmm.
was brilliant. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm using a lot of those. I think more with level 1, and level 2. There's a lot of practices that I'm using more in daily life.
Yeah.
It's really important for me because I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those practices, yes, I'm using more for the breath work because they're my protection as well,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it gets a bit blurred. And
Mm.
so that's where it's really working. And I've not been able to find anything to protect me to that level, which I've needed. So
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
so glad.
yeah,
It,
really.
when we're doing this work, as you know, and this isn't just for healers, this isn't just like come out of like, if you're listening to this, come out of this thing, oh, I need to be a hands-on healer. Like, this isn't just, this is for practitioners and coaches and breathwork facilitators and, even yoga teachers, and anywhere where we're in this this space with a client or with clients.
The
And what
energy.
I saw
Yeah.
again and again with, like, especially in soul space and through my Reiki trainings and my one-to-one clients, is we'd have this merging, and we'd hold this responsibility, and we'd feel drained afterwards. And as I looked into it, it was it's not so much that we have to protect ourselves, because again, that can come from that fear mindset, but from this sovereignty, from this abundant energy that comes in. And so we brought through practices in Akashic Reiki where that I mean have been around for centuries, actually. So this particular one's through some of the shamanic work that I've done, but with the lens of, I'm drawing this energy around me, I'm creating this field so that we're not separate, but we're also not blurred, where I'm where I am and you are where, and I can come at this from this space of neutrality, so that any judgment that does arise, because it does, because we're human, isn't affecting the session. And at the end of it, you're not in that weird kind of cord connecty space.
And but I just have to say also, the being in that field, doing the protection and then the closing down, the importance of that we found, because the energy of the healing is quite intense.
Mhm.
So you need to close down. But I mean, for me, on a every day going out and about and using this has been really, really good. So and I think it's how it's all been put together. So how you've brought, so before we started, I was saying that you obviously had to go on this journey of learning so much, because that's maybe what your soul required for you
Mhm.
to know, and as this human, how to pull it and how to channel this modality, because it's so comprehensive. Um, and yes, I do like learning. So for me, there's so much knowledge here from all the different things I might not have touched, but it's bringing it together. And some of it's, so fascinating, like definitely the eye movement. I'm absolutely loving that. So yeah, so I think there's a lot. I was going to say, I'm planting a seed here. You could actually write another book. just
Maybe.
planting a seed. Yeah, just saying.
That might
Here's,
happen in the future. Who knows? Maybe that might. There's a lot there, and that was my job.
yeah.
Was the energy came through? I received it. I knew it was something powerful. It was obvious. Once it came, it was obvious, and then it was, no, now what do we do with this? Because I did pass on a form of the attunement to my soul school practitioners, which was different, but it wanted more, like really. And this is what I'm hearing from what you're saying, why I keep grinning like a Cheshire cat here, is that like my job was the Akashic records hold this frequency that can really help humanity and us, I think, especially as
I think
healers
so.
and practitioners.
Yeah.
And there were so many barriers to entry, like there were so many things that it's easy to get in and out of the records, is my truth, but to actually have useful information, to actually work with it, wasn't always that easy in practicality. And the message that I had was, we want to, the records wanted to bring that frequency into the practitioners without us having to get in the way of it.
Mm.
It was like, let us do the heavy lifting, let us bring the frequency, let us bring the healing. We know how to heal our consorts. We know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you did it, but I think it's amazing because the attunements are excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. The attunements, I can't take credit for, because they came through me. And I listened, and I know I was in a position where I asked and I listened and I received and I took action. So I'm not taking that away from me, but that was received. Everything else was a co-creation, asking
Mm.
questions. How do I do this? What do I know? And this is the point, like, our, Akashic Reiki isn't just like become a great practitioner. It really is, for me, like, let's walk the Akashic way. And this was me walking the Akashic way. This was me taking my soul's journey, taking my life's journey, taking my passion, which is learning, which is, I've been fascinated about the mind body connection since I was a kid. And I could read about it like all day long, right, and never be bored. You look at my YouTube history, and it, that's what I immerse myself in. And also, like, I had this thing, like, I could always find the easy route. If you give me a thing, whenever all the jobs I was in, they'd be like doing all this stuff, I'm like, why don't you just do that and that, and then you've just got rid of it? Like, I thought I was lazy. I thought, oh, well, that's me being lazy. But then I realized it was a gift. And this is the thing, like, when we really own that and we take who we are and we're like, well, I was made perfect.
Mm.
This is the Akashic Records looks, you were made perfect. And what am I doing with this? What's that quote? What am I doing with the one life that I have? Right? What am I doing with that? I know that about myself. And I took it, and this is what came, and I opened it to my students, of which you were one, because I don't know how it was going to go
Start practicing.
until you start practicing, and it's gone beyond whatever I thought was possible, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but because the thing is, there's also a lot of, I mean, because you're living it, but I think there's a lot to process, take in, and live it. So, there's a lot of information. So, which, like I say, comprehensive, which actually adds to that, so how much you can do. And
Yeah,
there's always more. So, and that's the bit, so you can keep you whatever you need at that time, you can find something that will work
yeah,
in the
yeah.
healing process, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And that was the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, this again, this is not a list of processes. I've brought processes and practices because we love them and they're amazing and they work and they're incredible and they have a limit. And so bringing that, and then I think this is also why the first sort of 6 or 7 weeks really are moving into, like,
Living.
flame acceptance is the key, and then everything else is another practice where you can bring the mind and the body on board, so that your client, like you've demonstrated with your last client, that they're involved and they have this experience, which is helpful for us when we're healing, we're moving through the journey. Like it's the Akashic way. That's what we're doing over and over again. So I'm going to ask you this. If somebody's sitting here watching here going, should I, could I, will I, might I, what would you say to them?
What I would say, because this is what I had to do, is trust yourself. Trust the fact that if it's calling you in some way, you know, because me and you have spoken about this in the past, it's that soul to soul connection, that it's the soul telling you there's something there. And for me, I mean, I think when we were in the first level 1, for what we were learning, it all came together in a picture that I had created in 2021, where it was about the heart, the flame, the Merkaba, even the chakras. Everything was in that one picture, which pulled together that level 1 training. So yeah, there's a reason. There's always a reason. So if you are listening, yeah, there's a reason, because you know the curiosity, but there's also a connection. So trust it. I would say trust it personally.
Okay.
And like we say, it's walking that way of life. And I think that's more important.
Yeah.
I think, you know, compassion is a nice way to be, regardless.
Yeah.
I do think so. And love, like you say, for me, it's always been that's the most powerful language, the energy, the most powerful energy there is.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my beliefs are in this healing modality. So that's why it
Interesting.
does work for me. So yeah.
Yeah. It will call you. And the records have said to me time and again, don't worry about it, Melissa.
They will
People will
come.
feel it. And then our job, just like my job when I was sitting on that balcony in Bulgaria and I received it, I could have just let it be and been like, oh, I got a magical attunement. But then our job is then, how do we take action? What do we do? How do we move forward? And I know that that takes bravery and courage and dedication and devotion and, you know, and some belief and you know, sometimes it takes resources that we don't know that we have, or that we have to bring up, and I honor that, and I respect that for wherever you are, which is why I'm here. Like, if you want to talk to me about it, if anybody's like, well, I don't know, like this isn't, I'm never going to push this on anyone. Like, this will be for the right person, and it needs to be for the right people. So just to close, what would they get if they came, they joined, they took part as you did? What could they expect to change or receive from being a part of?
I think you start getting a better understanding of yourself, a better connection to yourself, and that then ripples out. How you behave to yourself will ripple out to others. And that slowly starts changing everything, doesn't it? So, yeah. And I keep saying but there's a lot of learning. So you get to learn a lot, actually.
You
You
get
know,
to learn a lot, and there's a very long manual.
yeah, there is a
um,
very long journey. Yeah.
um and it's so simple.
Yeah. And it's the application. So it's just, I think what it does, it makes you, no, sorry, what's really important, excuse me, what's really important is what you said right at the beginning. You're creating records all the time. In every moment of the day, you are creating a record. And so by applying the pillars and the principles, you start changing the records. And that's being conscious about it. And that's what I loved, actually. That.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, I've done Akashic Records, but I'd never thought of it as I am creating my record in every moment. And by that statement, it changed a lot, because that makes you a lot more aware
Mm-hmm.
of how you're being. And it
Mm-hmm.
changes to who you're becoming, right?
Yes, it's perfect.
Oh, it does.
We walk the Akashic way. It's not just a library of past information. Why is it recording everything? That was the inquiry I began. Why is it here? And it's to help us walk differently. Everything's an invitation.
Mm.
So if you're feeling that invitation and you're watching this, please do reach out. I would love to connect with you and have a chat. Nikita, thank you so much. If people wanted to connect with you, have a session with you, how can they find you?
I'm on Instagram,
Mhm.
Nikita_healing.
Nikita_healing on Instagram. I will tag you in that for sure. And all of our practitioners are on or are about to be on the website, which is akashicreiki.org. So you can all go and have a little look on there. And thank you so much for being here. And you did amazing. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye bye, everybody.
Bye.